My aunt publicly declared at family dinner, "He's just a worthless parasite sucking us dry," while everyone laughed. I walked out without a word and emailed my resignation to my uncle. 2 months later, my phone blew up with 39 texts from my uncle begging me to return and help save their failing business. I, 28M, have worked for my uncle's manufacturing business since I was 19. Not because I particularly loved it, but because family helps family, the mantra my uncle repeated every time he needed something from me, but conveniently forgot when I needed anything. For almost 9 years, I was the one who stayed late fixing problems that weren't mine, worked weekends when others called in sick, and generally kept things running, while my uncle played golf with clients, and my cousins managed departments they knew nothing about. I've designed systems, trained staff, and even secured 3 major contracts that literally doubled the company's revenue last year. My salary? About 40% below market rate. I should have left years ago, but there was always another crisis, another project, another guilt trip about family loyalty. Last month, my uncle hosted the annual company appreciation dinner at his house, which was really just a family dinner plus 2 longtime employees, who might as well be family. My aunt was serving her famous pot roast, dry as always, but no one dares say it, when my cousin mentioned the new Tesla he just ordered. "How'd you swing that on your salary?" my other cousin asked, smirking. "Dad approved my performance bonus," my cousin replied, taking a swig of his beer. I almost choked. Performance bonus? The guy who'd spent 3 months messing up the inventory system I built, then made me fix it on weekends while he took credit? I couldn't help myself. That's funny, because I remember spending 6 weekends straight fixing that inventory disaster. Still waiting on my bonus for that one. The table went quiet for a moment, then my uncle chuckled awkwardly. "Well, management has different compensation structures, you know how it is." "Yeah," my aunt chimed in, wine glass in hand. "Besides, it's not like you have a family to support. My son has responsibilities." Like his gambling habit and 3rd divorce, I thought but didn't say. My uncle tried changing the subject, but my aunt wasn't done. "Honestly, I don't know why you're complaining. We gave you a job when nobody else would. You live in that tiny apartment, no expenses, while the rest of us have real financial burdens." I stayed quiet, pushing pot roast around my plate. That tiny apartment costs me 40% of my already below market salary, but sure. "You know what your problem is," my aunt continued, getting louder. Everyone at the table was watching now, including the 2 employees, who looked deeply uncomfortable. "You don't appreciate what we've done for you. For 9 years, you've been nothing but a drain." My uncle half-heartedly muttered, "Now, honey." That's when she said it, gesturing at me with her wine glass. "He's just a worthless parasite sucking us dry." And then they laughed. Not everyone, the 2 employees stared at their plates, but my uncle, my cousins, even my uncle's brother. Actual laughter. I sat there for maybe 5 seconds. Then I just put my napkin on the table, stood up, and walked out. No drama, no words, just left. Behind me, I heard my aunt say something like, "Oh look, he's having another one of his moments. He'll be back tomorrow begging for overtime, as usual." More laughter. I drove home, drafted a resignation email with instructions for all my current projects, attached documentation for the systems I'd built, and hit send. Then I turned off notifications and went to bed. The next morning, I had a bunch of missed calls. I didn't listen to the voicemails. Instead, I updated my LinkedIn profile for the first time in years and reached out to a former coworker who'd been trying to recruit me. By the end of the week, I had 3 interviews scheduled and TBH felt weirdly calm. Every time my phone buzzed with my uncle's number, I felt a twinge of that old guilt, but then I'd remember my aunt's words and the laughter that followed. 2 weeks later, I accepted a position with my former coworker's company. 70% salary increase, actual benefits, and a signing bonus that made my eyes water. I start next month. I've blocked most of my family on social media, but kept my phone number the same. Call it curiosity, call it pettiness, but part of me wanted to see how long it would take for the consequences to hit. The answer, around 2 months. I'll update if anything interesting happens. Right now, I'm ignoring those texts and focusing on apartment hunting. Turns out I can afford a lot more than a tiny apartment when I'm not being exploited by family. Edit, to answer some questions, no, I'm not making this up. Wish I was TBH. And yes, my resume was good enough to get another job because I actually have valuable skills despite what my family thinks. Update 1. Sorry for the delay in updating. Been absolutely swamped with the new job and moving stuff. Thanks for all the comments and messages. Can't believe how many of you have similar stories, WTF. So after ignoring those 30-something texts, my uncle actually showed up at my apartment. Just knocked on my door at like 7 a.m. on a Sunday. I was still half asleep, hadn't even had coffee, hair probably looking like a bird's nest. I opened the door and just stared at him. He looked like absolute crap, bags under his eyes, wrinkled shirt, the whole 9 yards. Not his usual, "I'm better than you" look. "Can we talk?" he said, already trying to step inside without waiting for me to answer. I blocked the doorway. "About what?" He sighed, all dramatic like. "You know exactly what. The business is struggling since you left. Nobody knows how half the systems work. We've had server crashes and the inventory system is all messed up again." "I left documentation," I said, "and offered a notice period which you declined." He'd actually sent a nasty email saying don't bother coming in after I resigned. "Nobody can understand your documentation," he snapped, then caught himself. "Look, we made a mistake. Things were said that shouldn't have been said. But this is family, we need to stick together." I just stared at him. "Did my aunt send you?" He didn't answer, which was answer enough, lol. "The answer is no," I said. "I've accepted another position. I start next week." That's when he got mad. "You ungrateful little sh*t, after everything we've done for you? Your mother would be ashamed." Low blow, bringing my dead mom into it. "My mother," I said, trying not to lose it, "taught me not to let people treat me like garbage. Goodbye." I shut the door, hands shaking like crazy. Then I turned off my phone, made coffee, and tried to calm down by unpacking some boxes. Had a minor anxiety attack in the bathroom, but whatever. The next day, the flying monkeys came out in full force. First my cousin called, then my other cousin texted some BS about family loyalty, then even my uncle's brother sent this long-ass email about family obligations and how I was destroying my uncle's legacy by withholding my expertise. The most interesting thing happened yesterday, though. One of the employees who was at that dinner, the guy who looked super uncomfortable when my aunt was going off, messaged me on LinkedIn. He apologized for not saying anything that night, told him it wasn't his place to get involved, and then told me what's been happening. Since I left, they've lost 2 major clients. The systems keep crashing because no one knows how to maintain them properly. My cousin, Tesla guy, tried to fix things and ended up corrupting the database, even worse, LMAO. They had to hire some emergency IT consultant who charged them a fortune for a few days of work and still couldn't fix everything. Apparently, my uncle finally admitted to everyone that I had been somewhat valuable to the company. My aunt is still being a witch about it, though, saying they're better off without me and that they just need to hire someone who documents their work properly. I documented everything. Not my fault they never bothered to read it. The best part, my uncle apparently tried calling my new company to warn them about me. My new boss, who I've known for years, just laughed it off and told me about it during orientation. Said it only confirmed he'd made the right choice in hiring me. I started the new job on Monday. It's only been a few days, but holy crap, the difference is night and day. People actually say thank you when you help them? Wild concept. Still getting texts from family, but I set up an auto response that says, "This number is no longer accepting guilt trips, manipulation, or gaslighting. For all other communications, please email." Edit. For those asking about the database, it was a custom solution I built over years because my uncle refused to pay for commercial software. It worked fine when maintained properly, but my cousin probably tried to optimize it without understanding the structure. Edit 2. Yes, I have backups of everything important, including all documentation. No, I'm not legally liable for anything that happens after I left. Checked with a lawyer friend just to be sure. Update 2. Hey Reddit, back with another update because things have gotten even weirder and I need to vent. Haven't had much free time lately between the new job, which is awesome BTW, and setting up my new place. Found out my microwave doesn't work right and the maintenance guy can't come until next week, so that's fun. Anyway, it's been like 2 months since I started the new job, and TBH life is actually pretty good. My team values my input, my boss actually notices when I do good work, still feels weird, and I finally have enough money to not stress about buying groceries and paying rent in the same week. But the real tea is about my uncle's business absolutely imploding. That employee who reached out before? We've kept in touch. He finally quit last week, smart move, and we met for beers. The situation there is way worse than I thought. They've lost 4 out of their 5 big clients. Not just the 2 I knew about, 2 more jumped ship when orders got messed up repeatedly. They're operating at like 30% capacity now. My cousin had to return his precious Tesla, lol. Guess the bank wasn't cool with, but I'm supposed to get a bonus as a payment plan. The IT consultant they hired basically told them their entire system is fucked beyond repair since my cousin's fixes corrupted everything even worse. Would cost a small fortune to rebuild from scratch. But here's the best/worst part. My aunt has been telling everyone that I sabotaged the business on my way out. Like I'm both a worthless parasite and some tech genius who set up elaborate time bombs in their systems? Make it make sense? Last week my uncle tried a new approach. First came an actual offer. Triple my old salary, still less than I make now LOL, a fancy title, and a written apology from him, notably not from my aunt. When I didn't respond, the messages got desperate. Then angry. Then desperate again. The last one just said, "Please, we're going to lose everything." I finally replied with, "I'm sorry to hear that. I hope you find someone who can help." That's when things got even more bizarre. Yesterday, one of their remaining clients, a company I've worked with for years, emailed me directly asking if I'd consult with them since my uncle's business can't handle their needs anymore. I forwarded it to my new boss, who was pumped about the potential partnership. Then this morning my phone blew up with notifications. My uncle called an emergency family meeting and announced they'll probably have to close by the end of the quarter. My aunt apparently had a complete meltdown, screaming about how I'd destroyed everything, and they should sue me for what exactly? Being competent at my job, and then leaving it? My cousin, the non-Tesla one, called me crying, begging me to come back just long enough to fix things. I tried explaining that 1, the systems are probably beyond simple fixing at this point, and 2, my current contract has a non-compete clause. But we're family, she kept saying. Families help each other. Yeah, I said, they do. They also don't call family members worthless parasites and laugh about it. She hung up on me. I'm sitting in my new apartment right now looking at my actual decent work laptop, not the ancient refurbished thing my uncle claimed was perfectly adequate, and feeling, weird about all this? Like, I didn't set out to destroy their business. I just wanted to be treated with basic respect. Not my fault that I was apparently the only thing keeping their outdated, mismanaged company functioning. Been seeing a therapist, another perk of having real health insurance, who says I need to work on not feeling responsible for their failures. Easier said than done, I guess. Got that meeting with the former client next week. We'll update if anything interesting happens, but otherwise might be the end of this saga. Edit, to the person who'd med asking if I'd help them build a revenge virus for their family business. WTF no, that's illegal and insane. Blocking you. Final update. Hey Reddit, it's been a minute. Thought I should give a final update since so many of you have followed this whole mess and sent supportive messages. Seriously, thanks for that. Helped more than you know. It's been about 6 months since everything went down. Some days it feels like years ago, other days it still feels fresh. Had a nightmare about that dinner last week, actually. Anyway, my uncle's business officially closed about 3 months ago. They tried to keep going with the few clients they had left, but they kept messing up orders and missing deadlines. Last straw was when my cousin accidentally duplicated an order, and they made like $30,000 worth of custom parts that the client never ordered and refused to pay for, obviously. That client I mentioned in my last update ended up working with my new company. My boss put me on the project team, which was weird but kind of satisfying. We finished implementing their new system last week, on time, and actually under budget. The client sent our whole team these fancy snack baskets. First time in my entire working life I've got more than a "yeah, that'll do" for my work. As for the family fallout, it's been a mixed bag. My cousins found jobs eventually. Turns out having manager on your resume still opens doors even if you sucked at it. My uncle is selling his house to pay off business debts. And my aunt? Still telling anyone who'll listen that I sabotaged the family legacy and always had out for them. Some people never change, I guess. As for me, I got promoted to team lead after that client project. My boss took me to lunch to tell me, said I was the obvious choice, and they were lucky to have me. Still feels weird getting positive feedback, LOL. My salary now is almost triple what I made at my uncle's place, and I'm not living paycheck to paycheck for the first time ever. Got a car that doesn't break down constantly. Started dating someone who actually thinks my job is interesting and not just computer stuff. Even started a small side gig helping companies fix their inventory systems. Turns out lots of places need that kind of help. Sometimes I still think about that dinner, about what my aunt said, and everyone laughing. Still hurts if I'm being honest. But then I remember it's what pushed me to finally stand up for myself. I ran into one of those employees from the dinner last week at Home Depot, was trying to figure out which plant fertilizer won't kill my new houseplants, LOL. He's working for a competitor now. Told me my uncle and aunt are living in some small condo, downsized from their big house. Said my uncle sometimes mentions how he messed up the best thing that ever happened to the business. Too little, too late, I guess. I don't check my old email much anymore, but last time I did there was another message from my uncle. Subject line was, "You were never a parasite." I was. Haven't opened it. Maybe someday. Thanks for following this whole saga, Reddit. Your comments help a lot when I was doubting myself and feeling guilty. If you're in a similar situation with family or work, just know that sometimes walking away is the best thing you can do for yourself. Edit, RIP my inbox. Can't answer all questions, but yes, I'm still in therapy working through all this. No, I'm not helping my uncle start a new business, WTF. Yes, I'll probably read that email eventually, but I'm not ready yet. Edit 2. For those asking about legal issues, there weren't any. I didn't sabotage anything, just stopped fixing their messes. And nothing in my contract prevented me from leaving. During our family trip, my uncle snapped, "Stop acting like you belong with us, you never did." I laughed, took one final group photo, and quietly booked a solo flight home. 2 days later, his wife called me, apologizing, after they found I canceled their return tickets. Throwaway account for obvious reasons. I, 27M, have always been the extra in my family photos. My mom died when I was 4, dad remarried when I was 8, then died in a work accident when I was 16. My stepmom kept me around, mostly because my dad's life insurance paid for my stuff until college. Growing up, I was always invited to family stuff, birthdays, holidays, vacations, but there was always this feeling of, you're not really one of us. My stepmom's brother, my uncle, and his wife were the worst. They'd forget to set a place for me at holiday dinners, leave me out of gift exchanges, or say stuff like, "Wow, your stepmom is so generous for taking care of someone else's kid." Like I'm right there? I dealt with it. Went to college, got an okay job in IT, built my own life. I stayed on decent terms with my stepmom and her family by extension. Every year they do this big family vacation, and every year I'm invited as an afterthought. I usually say no, but this year my stepmom had been in the hospital, gallbladder thing, and specifically asked me to come. She was like, it would mean a lot to have everyone together, and I felt bad saying no. So I said yes. Big mistake. The trip was to this beach resort, 5-day thing. I paid my own way BTW. Split the rental house cost with everyone. From day one, things sucked. My uncle plus wife took the master bedroom without asking anyone. Their kids, 19F, 21M, got the next best rooms, and I got the crappy pull-out couch with the bar that digs into your back. Whatever, not worth fighting about. First 2 days I was basically ignored or treated like the designated photographer. Hey, take our picture. Can you grab more drinks? Typical stuff. I just dealt with it since I was mainly there for my stepmom. Day 3 we took this boat trip. Everyone was drinking, having fun. My uncle got super drunk and loud, as usual. They started talking about family stuff, showing my cousins old photos on their phones from when they were kids. Photos I wasn't in, stories from before I was around. I guess I looked kinda left out cause my stepmom said something like, "We should show him some too, he's family after all." That's when my uncle lost it. Jesus Christ, can we have one F*** ing conversation that isn't about making him feel included? He's not actually family. Stop acting like you belong with us, you never did. The boat got super quiet. My cousins looked at their feet, but didn't say anything. My stepmom started to speak, but my uncle talked over her. We're all thinking it. You were my sister's charity project after your dad died. Now you're just this hanger-on. We invite you out of obligation. I just laughed. Not even mad, just like, wow, finally someone said it out loud. I'd spent years trying to belong somewhere. I obviously wasn't wanted. You know what? You're right. I don't belong here. Never did. I went to the other side of the boat for the rest of the trip. Nobody came over to talk to me. Big surprise. When we got back to the house, I packed my stuff. Before leaving, I was like, hey, let's take one last group pic to remember the trip. My uncle rolled his eyes, but whatever, they all posed. I set the timer, got in the pic, smiled big, and after said thanks for the clarifying experience. Then I bounced. Took an Uber to the airport, got on the first flight home I could find, and blocked everyone except my stepmom. Sent her a quick text, heading home early. Don't worry about me. But here's the good part. Before I blocked everyone, I logged into the flight booking account. My cousin had asked me to handle everyone's tickets cause I know computers and could find deals. So I had all their confirmation #S emails, the whole thing. I didn't cancel their tickets. I'm not that much of a jerk. I just changed their return flights to the cheapest option. An overnight flight with a 7-hour layover in the completely wrong direction, landing at some tiny airport 3 hours from our city. Total travel time, like 19 hours for what should have been a 3 hours direct flight. And I upgraded myself to first class using the price difference LOL. Then I flew home, ordered a ton of Chinese food, and spent the rest of what would have been family vacation playing Elden Ring and sleeping in. 2 days later my phone blew up. My uncle's wife called again. I finally answered. "What the hell did you do to our flights?" she yelled. "Huh? What do you mean?" I said, all innocent. "Our return flights. They're completely changed. We have to leave at 11 p.m., fly to the wrong coast, wait 7 hours, then fly back on a tiny plane that doesn't even go to our airport. Your uncle missed an important meeting, the kids are exhausted, and your stepmom had to sit in a wheelchair for hours." That last part made me feel kinda bad. Didn't mean to mess up things for my stepmom. "That's weird," I said. "Must be a computer glitch. Those booking sites are super buggy sometimes. Your uncle knows you did this. He's furious." "Well, he was right about one thing," I said. "I'm not family. And since I'm not family, I'm not responsible for fixing your travel plans. Consider it a parting gift." I hung up feeling both awesome and guilty about my stepmom getting caught up in it. My phone's been going crazy since. My uncle left angry voicemails threatening legal action for fraud. Yeah, good luck, buddy. My cousin sent mixed messages, some mad, some kinda apologetic. My stepmom called twice, but didn't leave voicemails. Not sure what happens next, TBH. Part of me feels like I finally stood up for myself after years of being treated like garbage. Another part wonders if I went too far with the flight thing. I'll update when there's more. Edit asterisk since a bunch of PPL are asking. Yes, I paid for my own flight and my share of the house rental. Everyone transferred me their money for the flights, but the booking was under my account. And yeah, I do feel bad about my stepmom getting caught in this, but she was right there when my uncle said that stuff and didn't really defend me. Update. First, thanks for all the comments and support in my original post. I wasn't expecting so many responses, and reading through them helped me feel less crazy about the whole situation. It's been about a week since everything went down, and there have been some interesting developments. The day after I posted, my stepmother finally left a voicemail. She sounded tired, not angry like I expected. "I know you're upset, and you have every right to be. What your uncle said was cruel and untrue. I wish I had said something in the moment. Please call me when you're ready. I miss you." I sat on that for a couple days, not ready to engage. Meanwhile, my uncle was still on the warpath. He somehow got my work email, it's not hard to find, and sent a ranting message about how I'd revealed my true colors and confirmed what he always knew about me. The irony of him saying I wasn't family while simultaneously acting like he had any authority over me was not lost. 3 days ago, my stepmother showed up at my apartment. I was surprised. She's never visited me unannounced before. She looked smaller somehow, more fragile than I remembered from just a week earlier. I let her in, offered her tea. We sat in awkward silence for a minute before she spoke. "I failed you," she said simply. "Not just on the boat. For years. I didn't know what to say to that. When your father died, I was overwhelmed. Taking care of a teenager wasn't what I signed up for, but I did care about you. I still do. But I let my brother and his family dictate how you were treated because it was easier than standing up to them." She reached for her purse and pulled out an envelope. "I found these while looking through some old boxes after we got home. Inside were photos of me and my father, some I'd never seen before. One of him holding me as a baby. Another of us fishing when I was maybe 6 or 7. Your father was a good man. He would be ashamed of how his son has been treated by my family. By me." I felt that knot in my throat you get when you're trying not to cry. "The flight change," she said after another pause. "That was well-deserved for my brother. He was furious, by the way. Threatened to sue the airline, the booking site, then you when he figured it out. He even called his lawyer friend." She actually smiled a little. His lawyer friend told him he didn't have a case. That's when he started drinking at the airport bar, missed the boarding announcements, and they almost left without him. I couldn't help but laugh at that image. I won't ask you to forgive him. Or me. But I want you to know that I've told him he's not welcome in my home until he apologizes to you. And I mean a real apology, not some half-assed sorry you were offended nonsense. I was stunned. My stepmother had never stood up to her brother like that, at least not that I knew of. After your father died, I kept telling myself that keeping peace in the family was what mattered. I was wrong. You were my family too, and I let you down. We talked for almost 2 hours after that. Really talked, maybe for the first time ever. About my father, about the years after he died, about how isolated I'd felt. She listened, really listened. Before she left, she told me she'd paid my uncle back for his changed flight costs. He doesn't get to hold that over you, she said. Then she hugged me, a real hug, not the awkward side hug I usually got at family gatherings. As for my uncle, he apparently told his wife I need to learn my place, and that no real nephew would do something so disrespectful. The man really doesn't get it, does he? My cousins have been surprisingly decent, though. My older cousin actually texted to say he always felt uncomfortable with how I was treated, but never had the guts to say anything. Too little, too late, but at least he acknowledged it. My uncle's wife called again yesterday, this time with a different tone. She asked if I would consider joining them for my stepmother's birthday dinner next month. I told her I needed time to think about it. She sounded disappointed but said she understood. The most unexpected outcome of all this? I feel lighter. Like I've put down a heavy backpack I didn't even realize I was carrying. For years, I've been trying to earn a place in this family, playing the role of the grateful tag-along, never complaining, always available when needed, but never quite included. I'm done with that now. I don't know what my relationship with my stepmother will look like going forward. We have a lot of healing to do, but at least it will be honest. As for my uncle, I don't particularly care if I ever see him again. Sometimes the family you're born into, or in my case, the family you inherit, isn't meant to be your forever family. And that's okay. I'll update again if anything significant happens, but for now, I'm focusing on building my own life and surrounding myself with people who actually want me around. Final update. It's been about 2 months since my last update, and I think this will be my final post on the situation. A lot has happened, and I wanted to share the conclusion to this chapter of my life. The biggest development, my stepmother's birthday dinner. After much consideration, I decided to go. Not for my uncle, but for my stepmother, who has been making genuine efforts to rebuild our relationship. We've been having weekly coffee meetups, and she's actually been asking about my life, my work, my friends, all the things she never seemed interested in before. I arrived at the restaurant intentionally 15 minutes late to avoid the awkward pre-dinner mingling. My stepmother was sitting at the head of the table, with an empty chair next to her. Save for me, I realized. That had never happened before. My uncle was there with his wife and kids, of course. The moment I walked in, the temperature in the room seemed to drop 10 degrees. My uncle refused to make eye contact. His wife gave me a tight smile. My cousins nodded uncomfortably. As I sat down, my stepmother squeezed my hand under the table. A small gesture, but meaningful. Dinner was tense, but civil. My uncle barely spoke, focusing intensely on his steak like it might try to escape if he looked away. About halfway through the meal, my older cousin surprisingly engaged me in a conversation about a new video game we both played. It was stilted but seemed like a genuine attempt. After the main course, before the cake, my stepmother clinked her glass with a spoon. "I want to thank everyone for coming to celebrate with me," she began. Standard stuff. But then she continued, "Family is complicated. Sometimes we hurt each other, intentionally or not. But true family acknowledges when they've been wrong and tries to do better." She looked directly at my uncle as she said this. He shifted uncomfortably in his seat. I've been reflecting a lot lately on what family really means, and I've realized that it's not just about blood or marriage. It's about who shows up, who cares, who makes the effort. She turned to me then. "You've been more family to me than I deserved, especially these past few years. You check on me weekly, you helped me navigate my health insurance when I was sick, you even fixed my computer countless times without complaining." She smiled. Well, maybe a little complaining. People laughed nervously. My uncle was now staring at his empty plate. "Anyway," my stepmother continued, "I just want to say thank you. And that I'm sorry it took me so long to appreciate what was right in front of me." There was an awkward pause before my uncle's wife surprisingly spoke up. "I think we all owe you an apology," she said to me. "What happened on the trip was just the most visible example of how we've treated you for years. It wasn't right." My uncle made a dismissive noise, and his wife shot him a look. "Some of us are still working on seeing that," she added pointedly. After the cake, as people were getting ready to leave, my uncle approached me. I braced myself. "My wife thinks I should apologize," he said stiffly. "But you don't think you need to?" I stated rather than asked. He frowned. You changed our flights. Cost me a client meeting. Made us all miserable. And you told me I wasn't family after years of treating me like an unwanted houseguest. Seems like we're even. He huffed. This is typical. You play the victim, everyone feels sorry for you, and suddenly, I'm the bad guy. I just shook my head. You still don't get it. I don't need your approval anymore. I don't need to be part of your definition of family. And I definitely don't need your half-assed non-apology. I walked away, said goodbye to my stepmother, and left before he could respond. The following week, my stepmother called to tell me my uncle had been grumbling to anyone who would listen about how ungrateful and disrespectful I was. The funny thing? Almost no one was taking his side. Apparently, my flight modification had become something of a family legend, with most people secretly thinking he got exactly what he deserved. So where does that leave things now? My relationship with my stepmother has improved significantly. We're not best friends, but there's a new honesty between us that feels healthy. She recently asked if I would help her sort through some of my father's old things that she'd kept in storage, something she'd never offered before. My cousin, the older one, and I have exchanged a few texts about non-family stuff. It's surface level, but it's something. As for my uncle, I've decided he doesn't get to take up space in my head anymore. He's made it clear he's not interested in changing, and I've made it clear I'm not interested in pretending. The most important change has been internal. I've stopped seeking validation from people who were never going to give it. I've reconnected with friends I'd neglected while trying to force my way into a family that didn't want me. I even started dating someone new, and for the first time, I'm not anxiously wondering if they'll think I'm too much or not enough. Sometimes the best revenge isn't some elaborate scheme, though the flight change was pretty satisfying, I can't lie. Sometimes it's just moving on and building a life so good that those who hurt you become irrelevant. That group photo I took before leaving the beach house? I found it on my phone the other day. Everyone's smiling except my uncle, who looks annoyed, and me, who has this weird, knowing look, like I'm already gone. I considered deleting it, but instead I archived it. A reminder of the moment I finally stopped trying to belong where I wasn't wanted. Life's too short to chase approval from people who never wanted to give it in the first place. Thanks for coming along on this journey with me, Reddit. Your support made a difference. I, 28M, won a lottery, faked an injury to test my girlfriend, and discover her true colors. I, 28M, won $1.2 million in the lottery about 2 months ago. After taxes and everything, not the mega millions you see on TV, but still life-changing for me. Been with my GF for almost 3 years, living together for like a year. We were doing okay financially. I work in IT, she's in marketing, but definitely not rolling in cash or anything. When I won, I was totally shocked. Like, who actually wins these things? I bought the ticket at a gas station on my way home from work on a random Thursday. My first reaction was to call my GF right away, but something stopped me. Things between us had been kinda off lately. She was always on her phone, canceling our date nights last minute, just seemed different. I dunno. So instead I told her I needed to see my parents for the weekend, they live like 3 hours away, and drove there to clear my head. My parents have always been good with money stuff, and they thought I should keep quiet until everything was legally sorted out. If she's with you for the right reasons, a few weeks won't matter, my dad said. Made sense to me. I contacted a financial advisor, met with a lawyer, started the whole claiming process. My state lets winners stay anonymous, thankfully. That's where I got the dumb idea to test my GF. I know how that sounds. Not my proudest moment. But I suddenly realized that $1.20 mil would change how people see me, and I wasn't 100% sure where we stood anymore. So I decided to fake a broken leg. Told her I slipped on some ice at my parents' house while helping them move stuff. My buddy works at a medical supply place and let me borrow an old walking boot. I even watched YouTube videos on how to walk with an injury, LMAO. The plan, if you can call it that, was to see how she'd handle me being temporarily disabled and maybe unable to work for a bit. First couple days, she was fine, brought me water, helped me get comfortable, etc. But by day 3, things changed. She started sighing really loudly whenever I asked for anything. Started going out with friends more to give me space to rest. When she was home, she was just scrolling Instagram and barely talking to me. Day 6 of this stupid charade is when everything blew up. I was hobbling to the living room when I heard her on the phone in the kitchen. Our apartment has this weird thing where sound from the kitchen carries down the hall, but she didn't know I was there. I should have dumped him already, she was saying, sounding all disgusted. Now he's got this broken leg, and I'm stuck playing nurse. Like, I was literally about to end things before this happened. Talk about bad timing. Her friend said something back, and then she went, I know, right? And he's been talking about possibly missing work for a while. I can't handle being the responsible one financially. That's not what I signed up for. I just stood there feeling like someone punched me in the gut. I turned around and went back to the bedroom trying to process WTF I just heard. For the next 2 days, I didn't say anything about it. Just watched her get more and more annoyed at having to deal with me and my injury. Then we had this dinner party at her friend's place. I almost didn't go but wanted to see how she'd act around others. The whole night she basically ignored me, making these little jokes about how helpless I was, telling everyone she had to do everything now. I just sat there drinking my beer wondering who TF this person was. Then someone asked about our vacation plans for summer. Before I could say anything, my GF laughed and went, well, we were going to go to the beach, but now I don't know. Might need to find someone with 2 working legs to go with instead. Everyone laughed except me. That was my breaking point. Actually, I said, putting down my beer, you should definitely find someone else. Room got super quiet. In fact, you should find somewhere else to live, too. She looked shocked AF. Are you serious right now? After everything I've done for you this week? I got up, grabbed my crutches, and looked right at her. I heard you on the phone the other day. About how you were planning to dump me before my accident. About how inconvenient my broken leg is for your life plans. Her face went white. Her friends looked super uncomfortable. But instead of apologizing, she went off. Fine, she yelled. Yes, I was going to break up with you. You're boring and have no ambition. You're never going to amount to anything, and I'm tired of waiting for you to get your *T together. Happy now? Is that what you wanted to hear? I didn't yell back. Just nodded, took off my walking boot, and put on the coffee table. The look on her face was priceless. Legs fine, I said. Never was broken. Just wanted to see who you really are when things get tough. Guess I got my answer. I walked normally to the door, turned back to the room. Everyone was just staring, and added, oh, and I won $1.2 million in the lottery last month. The paperwork's finalized tomorrow. Your stuff better be out of my apartment by then. Then I left. That was a couple weeks ago. Edit. To answer some common questions, yes, the apartment is in my name. She's not on the lease. And no, I don't feel good about the fake injury thing. It was immature and I get that. Update, about a week later. So I didn't expect my first post to get so much attention. Appreciate all the comments and DMs, even the ones telling me I'm an asshole for the fake injury thing. Fair enough, TBH. Some of you asked for an update, so here goes. First off, yes, I know faking an injury was a crappy thing to do. Reading all your comments calling me out made me realize how childish it was. I should have just talked to her like an adult instead of playing games. Lesson learned, I guess. After I walked out of the dinner party, I checked into a hotel for the night. Needed space to think and didn't want another confrontation. When I went back to the apartment next morning, my ex-GF was waiting for me. Talk about a personality transplant. She was crying, apologizing, saying she didn't mean any of it and made a terrible mistake, etc., etc. I just stood there watching her cry and honestly felt nothing. When she finally stopped talking, I reminded her that I wanted her moved out by the end of the week. That's when she switched tactics. You can't just kick me out, she said. My name is on the lease too. And what kind of person lies about an injury? That's manipulative and cruel. Actually, her name isn't on the lease, thank God. But she was right about the second part. I admitted the fake injury was messed up. You're right, I told her. It was a *TTY thing to do. We both showed our true colors and clearly we shouldn't be together. Then she brought up the lottery money. So you just happened to win the lottery and didn't tell me? Were you planning to hide that forever? I explained I was getting everything legally sorted first, which was partly true. Also told her that her recent behavior made me hesitant to share the news right away, which is why I came up with the broken leg idea. She got all defensive like, so you were testing me? That's so unfair. Nobody's at their best when they're suddenly forced to be a caretaker. You set me up to fail. Maybe she had a point? Idk. But the stuff she said about planning to dump me anyway, calling me boring with no ambition, that wasn't just stress talking. When I pointed that out, she changed the subject and asked about her share of the lottery money. Your share? I was genuinely confused. Yes, she said like it was obvious. We've been together for 3 years. That money is partly mine too. I actually laughed. The ticket was bought with my money, in my name only. We're not married. There is no your share. She did not like that LOL. Started threatening to sue me, saying she'd supported my career and invested her time in our relationship. I walked out of the room and called my lawyer just to be safe. He confirmed she had zero claim to my winnings. By the end of that day, she'd called me like 17 times and sent over 30 texts. Some were like, "Please, I love you, I was just stressed," and others were more like, "My dad knows a really good lawyer." The next day, her parents showed up at our apartment. I'd always gotten along with them and thought they were cool, so I let them in. They were actually pretty understanding when I explained everything. Her dad even apologized for her behavior and said they'd talk to her. They helped move her stuff out that weekend, which was a huge relief. But the drama wasn't over LOL. My ex started telling our mutual friends that I'd been financially abusive by hiding the lottery win, and that I'd cruelly manipulated her with a fake injury. Some friends took her side, which TBH told me everything I needed to know about those friendships. Others messaged me privately saying they'd noticed how she treated me over the past year, always putting me down, making jokes at my expense, checking out other guys when we were out together. One friend even told me she saw my ex-hardcore flirting with her co-worker at a company party I couldn't go to. This past week I've been meeting with my financial advisor and lawyer, securing everything, and looking for a new place. I gave notice at my job 1 month, and am planning to take some time off to travel and figure out what I want to do next. My ex is now telling anyone who'll listen that SHE dumped me because I was emotionally manipulative, and that she dodged a bullet. Maybe she's right about the first part. The fake injury was definitely not my finest moment. But from where I'm standing, I'm the one who dodged the bullet. Edit, just to clarify, since a few comments asked, yes, I've already gotten my winnings, took the lump sum option rather than payments, and yes, I immediately moved the money to accounts she has no access to. Also, no, I'm not rich now. After taxes, it's more like $750,000, but still life-changing for me. Update 2. Didn't think I'd update again this soon, but stuff has happened and my inbox is flooded with PPL asking for updates. So like 2 days after my last post, my ex showed up at my workplace. Middle of a meeting, the receptionist calls to say someone's causing a scene in the lobby. I excuse myself, and there she is, looking like a mess, makeup all streaky, like she hadn't slept in days. "Can we please talk?" she asked, voice all shaky. "I've been trying to reach you." I'd blocked her hashtag after the moving drama, so hadn't seen any new messages. I agreed to talk at the coffee shop across the street, mainly to avoid drama at my job. We sit down with our coffees, and she launches into what seemed like this practice speech about how she'd done a lot of soul-searching and realized what truly matters. According to her, she'd been going through a quarter-life crisis, WTF is that even, and had taken her frustrations out on me. "I made a terrible mistake," she said, trying to grab my hand. I moved it away. We were good together for 3 years. You can't throw that away over one bad week. I reminded her it wasn't just 1 week, it was what that week showed me about us. And it wasn't just my stupid test, it was what she said at the dinner party. That's when she completely switched topics. "I know about the prenup," she said. I almost spit out my coffee. "What prenup? We're not even engaged." She looked confused. "Your parents. They made you get that prenup before you came into your inheritance, right? That's why you kept the lottery win secret." I was completely lost. My parents aren't wealthy at all. I didn't inherit anything. I literally just won the lottery by random luck. My parents still work full-time. Then it clicked. She somehow convinced herself my sudden money wasn't from the lottery, but from some secret family inheritance I'd been hiding. She thought I came from money or something? When I explained that no, I really did just win the lottery, she looked disappointed. Like finding out I wasn't secretly rich all along made me less interesting. "So there's really no other money coming?" she asked with this little frown. "Just the lottery amount." And there it was. Mask off again. I got up to leave, but she grabbed my arm. "Wait, that came out wrong," she said quickly. "The money doesn't matter to me. I want you back because I love you." I told her I needed to think and left. That same day, I got a text from her friend, who was at the dinner party, warning me that my ex was on a mission to get back with me and had been researching lottery winners and legal obligations. Great. 2 days later, I got this official-looking letter from some lawyer claiming to represent my ex in a domestic partnership asset division. Sent it straight to my lawyer, who called it amateur hour and said it had no standing whatsoever. He sent a cease and desist letter back. I thought that would end it. Nope. My ex somehow got my parents' phone hashtag? She called them with some story about how I was making irrational financial decisions and needed intervention. My mom told her the only intervention my son needed was getting away from you, and hung up. Love you, Mom, LOL. Then she started this weird social media campaign, posting vague but obviously about me statuses like people who change when they come into money and the truth behind the mask. When that didn't work, she started mailing my family and friends trying to warn them about me. The worst was when she showed up at my new apartment. Still have no idea how she found my address. I opened the door, and there she was with a small suitcase, crying. Please, she said, I have nowhere else to go. My parents cut me off because of how I've been acting. I got fired yesterday for missing too much work. I need you. Part of me wanted to slam the door, but I'm not a complete a-hole. I told her she could crash on the couch for one night while she figured things out, but we weren't getting back together and she needed to be gone in the morning. What followed was the most obvious manipulation I've ever seen. She tried everything, crying, talking about the good times, trying to seduce me, even suggesting we could have a business arrangement where she helped manage my money. When none of it worked, she flipped out. You're making the biggest mistake of your life, she hissed, totally different person suddenly. I put 3 years into this relationship. I deserve some of that money. You think you can just discard me now that you've hit the jackpot? You were nothing before that lottery ticket. Nothing. I recorded the whole meltdown on my phone just in case, then calmly asked her to leave. When she refused, I told her I'd call the cops to report a trespasser. She grabbed her suitcase and stormed out, but not before saying I would regret this for the rest of my life. Next day, I filed for a restraining order based on her harassment pattern and the recording. Got it temporarily pending a hearing. As for the money, I've made some decisions. Paid off my student loans and my parents' mortgage. Set aside money for my little sister's college. The rest is being invested, and I'm using a small amount to start a business I've always wanted to try. Not saying what it is for privacy. I've learned some hard lessons from all this. Yes, my test was dumb and immature, but it also probably saved me from sharing my money with someone who clearly saw me as an ATM, not a partner. Oh, and yes, there's been more drama since my ex violated the restraining order by sending emails from a new account. My lawyer is handling it. Her parents reached out again to apologize and said she's finally agreed to see a therapist. Good for her, I guess, but I want nothing to do with it. Edit. For the people asking about taxes, yes, I already paid them. That's why it's $750,000, not the full amount. And about the restraining order, it's just a temporary one until the hearing. Not sure if the judge will make it permanent, but my lawyer thinks we have a good case. Final update. A while later, like 6 to 7 months since everything happened. Wasn't planning to post again, but I keep getting MSGS asking for updates, so here's a final one for closure, I guess. Life has been pretty good lately. That business I mentioned starting is doing okay, nothing crazy successful, but I enjoy the work, and it keeps me busy. I've traveled a bit, always wanted to see the Grand Canyon, finally did it, reconnected with some old friends, and even started dating again. Very casually, though, and with someone who has no clue about the lottery thing. My parents are doing great. My dad finally retired after I paid off their mortgage, and seeing him pursue his hobbies without money stress has honestly been the best part of having some cash. As for me and the money, it's weird, I'm still not used to having it. I've made peace with how everything went down, though. Would my ex and I have broken up eventually without the lottery and my stupid test? Probably yeah. The problems were already there, the money and fake injury just sped everything up. I've noticed that sudden money doesn't change who people are. It just makes them more of who they already were. Generous people become more generous. Entitled people become more entitled. Insecure people get more insecure. I'm trying to remember that about myself too. For those worried about me getting targeted for money in future relationships, I appreciate the concern, but I'm being careful. Most of my winnings are invested, and I live pretty normally. Most people in my day-to-day life have no idea about the lottery, and I want to keep it that way. Thanks to everyone who followed this whole mess from the beginning. The supportive comments and advice, even the harsh ones, help more than you know. This chapter is closed now. On to the next one, I guess. Edit. Thanks for all the awards and stuff, but maybe save your money, LOL. Also, stop messaging me asking for loans/donations. Not gonna happen, sorry.
My girlfriend said, I need space, don't contact me for a while, then posted vacation photos with her ex. I respected her wishes, changed the locks, and sold her car that was in my name. When she returned, her key didn't work and her parking space was empty. Original post I, 30M. Guess I should start at the beginning. It's still kind of raw. Not gonna lie. About 3 weeks back, my girlfriend Emily, 28F, dropped a bomb via text. We'd been together nearly 2 years, living together in my apartment for the last year. Things felt okay? Maybe a bit distant lately, but nothing alarming. Or so I thought. The text came on a random Tuesday evening while I was prepping dinner. Emily, things feel complicated and I really need some space to think, figure things out. Don't contact me for a while, please. I'll reach out when I'm ready. Oof. Gut punch. Space is never good. But okay, trying to be the understanding boyfriend, I texted back, okay, Emily. I understand. Take the time you need. Didn't hear anything else. Radio silence, which she asked for, right? So I respected it. Moped around the apartment for a couple of days, confused, hurt, wondered what complicated meant. Work was a welcome distraction. Then Friday night rolls around, bored, scrolling through Instagram. And there it is. A mutual friend had tagged Emily in a post. Pictures. Bright sunshine, beach, cocktails. Emily, looking ridiculously happy. Arm in arm with Jordan, 29M. Her ex, the one she swore was ancient history. Captioned something like, "Living our best lives, island getaway reunited." My blood ran cold. Space to think meant a tropical vacation with her ex-boyfriend. While asking me for no contact, the hurt morphed into something else. A cold, hard clarity. She didn't just want space. She wanted me out of the way while she test drove her old relationship, keeping me as a backup plan in my own apartment. Using my resources while explicitly telling me to leave her alone. Okay, fine. You want space? You want no contact? Granted. Saturday morning, first thing. Locks. Called a locksmith. Changed the deadbolt in the knob lock on my apartment door. Cost about $250, worth every penny for the peace of mind. Her key was now useless. The car. This requires context. About 6 months ago, Emily's old clunker finally died. She needed a reliable car for her job, social media marketing, lots of client meetings apparently, but her credit wasn't great. I agreed to help. I bought a used but very decent Mazda CX-5, maybe $18. Crucially, the loan, title, and insurance are all solely in my name. The understanding was she'd make payments to me, which she did mostly, and it was her car to use. But legally, it was 100% mine. I never added her to the title or insurance. She treated it like hers, decorated it with fluffy dice, the works. I took the spare key, which I always kept, drove it to a trusted dealership nearby that buys used cars. Explained the situation briefly, need to sell, registered owner. They gave it a quick look, offered an initial fair market estimate, around $16,500, pending a full inspection and title check. I agreed to proceed and signed the initial paperwork to start the process. They said it would take a few business days to complete the inspection, finalize the offer, and handle the title transfer. I left the car there, took an Uber home. Her designated parking spot at the apartment complex? Empty. Her stuff. Didn't touch it yet. It's still in the spare room closet. Not throwing it out, that feels petty. But she wasn't getting back into my apartment without talking to me, which she explicitly requested not to do. Felt strangely calm, like performing necessary surgery. Hurt? Yeah, deep down. Felt like a total idiot. But anger wasn't the main driver, it was logic. She asked for space and no contact. She demonstrated the relationship was over by vacationing with her ex. I was simply respecting her request and protecting my assets and my home. Now I wait. According to Instagram, the best life vacation lasts another week. Let's see what happens when she gets back and her key doesn't work. Update 1. Update 1. Well, she's back. Showtime. It happened last Tuesday evening, about 9 p.m. I, Ryan 30M, was just watching some TV, trying to ignore the knot in my stomach. Heard keys jangling outside the door, then the scrape of a key in the lock. Silence. More scraping, frantic now. Then, pounding. Knock, knock, knock. Ryan, what is going on? Open the door, Emily's voice. Annoyed, not panicked. Yet, took a deep breath. Opened the door just a crack, kept the chain on. She was standing there, suitcase beside her, looking tanned and upset. My key isn't working. Did something happen to the lock? No. I changed them. Calm voice. Level. Blinks. You what? Why would you do that? Me? You asked for space and no contact, Emily. I gave it to you. Permanently. What are you talking about? I just needed some time. You can't just lock me out. Saw the vacation photos. With Jordan. Looks like you figured things out. Her face went from annoyed to furious with a flash of panic. Cut. Emily. That was just a trip. It didn't mean anything. We're friends. Raises eyebrow. Friends who go on romantic island getaways while asking their current boyfriend for space? Got it. Ryan, don't be ridiculous. Let me in. My stuff is in there. Where's my car? Her eyes darted to the empty parking spot. Where's my car, Ryan? The entitlement was radiating off her. The sheer assumption that everything would just be waiting for her. Me. Firstly, it's my apartment. Secondly, it was never your car. It's my car, legally in my name, and I'm selling it. It's at the dealership now. Jaw drops. You're selling it? You can't do that. I paid for that car. You made payments to me towards its use, Emily. You didn't buy it. The title and loan are in my name. The sale process has started. This is insane. You're stealing from me. I'm calling the cops. She actually pulled out her phone. I just shrugged. Me. Go ahead. Call them. Explain that your ex-boyfriend changed the locks on his own apartment after you asked for no contact and went on vacation with another ex. Explain that he's selling his own car, titled and registered solely in his name. Let me know how that goes. She hesitated, phone halfway to her ear. Then her expression turned venomous. Emily. You horrible person. You planned this. Me? You planned a vacation with your ex and asked me for silence. I respected your wishes and dealt with the consequences. You don't get to keep me on standby in my own home. Suddenly another voice. Her sister, Brooke, 26F, must have been waiting in the car downstairs. She came marching up the walkway. Brooke, what is going on? Emily? Ryan, why is she locked out? Turning on the waterworks for her sister. He changed the locks. He's selling my car. He's throwing me out. Brooke, turning on me. Are you serious? After everything she's done for you, you just kick her out and sell her things? It's my apartment, Brooke, and it was my car. She asked for no contact and went on vacation with Jordan. Check her Instagram. We're done here. She needed space. You're supposed to support her, not punish her. Support her cheating on me? No thanks. She made her choice. Now she can live with it. Emily started demanding her stuff. Right now, at 9 p.m. Me. Not happening tonight. You can arrange a time to pick up your belongings. Send me a text with a date and time. I'll have them boxed up near the door. You won't be coming inside further than the entryway. You can't dictate. I can. My apartment. My rules now. You wanted no contact? This is the new contact arrangement. Text me a time. Goodbye. Close the door. Lock the deadbolt. My hands were shaking slightly. Adrenaline, anger, residual hurt, but mostly relief. It was done. The confrontation was over for now. Heard them outside for another 5 minutes, Emily yelling, Brooke trying to calm her down while probably fueling the fire. Then they left. Couple hours later, got a text. Not from Emily, from Brooke's phone. Brooke's text, Emily needs her things tomorrow, 10 a.m. Be ready. No please, no thank you, just pure demand. Replied, okay. Spent the next few hours boxing up Emily's clothes, toiletries, books, knickknacks, everything I could find. Piled it near the door, felt cleansing. The dealership called later that week, maybe Thursday, said the inspection was done. The final offer was firm at $16,350, slight adjustment for tire wear. Went down there Friday afternoon, signed the final title transfer docs, and they handed me the check. Deposited it immediately. Felt like closing a very expensive, emotionally draining chapter. Let's see what tomorrow, the pickup day, brings. Expecting more drama. Update 2, the last week has been something else. The entitlement levels just keep rising. It's almost impressive. The pickup, 10 a.m. on the dot, Wednesday, as scheduled in the previous update. Knock at the door. Not Emily. It was Brooke and their mom, Karen. Emily was waiting in the car, apparently too distraught to face me, right? Karen immediately launched into it. Tears in her eyes. Crocodile tears, I suspect. Karen, Ryan, how could you do this to her? After 2 years, she loves you. Apparently not enough to avoid vacationing with her ex while asking me for space, Karen. It was a mistake. She was confused. You should forgive her. And selling her car? That was cruel. She needs that for work. It was my car, Karen, legally mine, and her confusion led her to betray our relationship. Actions have consequences. The car is sold. Opened the door wider to show the boxes piled in the entryway. Me, here's her stuff. Take it all. Make sure you get everything, because this is the only chance. Sniffing disdainfully. We'll need to check the closets, the bathroom. Nope, you can take what's here in the entryway. I packed everything I could find. You are not coming further into my apartment. Don't be unreasonable, Ryan. What if you missed something? Me. Then it's unfortunate. You can stand here, I'll stand here. Take the boxes, that's the deal. They clearly wanted to push past, maybe argue more, maybe find something valuable of Emily's they could claim I kept. Wasn't happening. They muttered under their breaths but started hauling boxes out. Took them 3 trips, all while Karen kept up a monologue about how heartless I was, how Emily was devastated, how I owed her compensation for the car. I just stood there, didn't engage much, repeated it was my car, and she ended this like a broken record. The financial demands and smear campaign. Once they left, the texts started. Mostly from Emily now, alternating between tearful apologies, I miss you, I made a huge mistake, please take me back, and furious demands. You owe me for the car, that was my money, I'll take you to small claims. I ignored the emotional texts. For the demands, I sent one reply. Me, Emily, the car was legally mine. Title, loan, insurance, all in my name. Your contributions were towards usage for the period you used it. Consider it rent. No further discussion. Then blocked her number. Blocked Brooke, blocked Karen. But it didn't stop. Suddenly some mutual friends started hitting me up. People I knew mostly through Emily. Their tone was accusatory. Dude, heard what you did to Emily. Kinda messed up. Selling her car like that? Cold. She was clearly spinning a sob story, painting me as the villain who randomly kicked her out and took her car out of spite. Conveniently leaving out the vacation with Jordan part, I'm sure. I briefly explained the situation, her text, the ex-vacation, the car legally being mine, to a couple of them I thought might be reasonable. Mixed results. Some got it, some clearly bought her narrative. Whatever. People believe what they want. Dirty trick attempt. Then came the call from my landlord's office yesterday. Apparently, they received an anonymous complaint about recent disturbances and loud arguments coming from my unit's vicinity. Claimed there was shouting and concern about confrontations. My blood ran cold for a second. This felt calculated, trying to get me in trouble. Thankfully, I have a decent relationship with the building manager. I calmly explained, my ex-girlfriend, who was living here but not on the lease, recently moved out after a breakup. There was a brief, loud argument outside my door when she discovered I changed the locks following her request for no contact and subsequent actions. Her family was also here briefly for a supervised pickup of her belongings. There have been no disturbances inside my unit, and she is no longer residing here. The manager seemed to understand. Said they'd note it down, but unless there were further verifiable complaints or actual disturbances, it wouldn't go anywhere. Pretty sure it was Emily or Brooke trying to cause trouble. Low blow. The X Factor got a message request on Instagram from Jordan, didn't open it, just deleted and blocked. Don't need or want to hear anything from him. Probably gloating or trying to stir the pot. My response, honestly, all this entitlement and the dirty tricks just solidify my decision. They aren't making me feel guilty, they're making me feel justified. This isn't just a mistake Emily made. This is who she is and who her enablers, Brooke, Karen, are. The revenge isn't some grand scheme, it's just letting them crash against the wall of reality. Apartment, secure. Lease is solely mine. Complaint went nowhere. Car sold. Money in my account. Legally airtight. Her stuff. Gone. Communication. Blocked on all channels. Any future attempts at contact, especially threats, will go straight to a lawyer for a cease and desist. Already consulted one briefly just to be safe. They confirmed my position on the car and apartment is solid. The constant demands, the victim narrative, the attempt to mess with my housing, it's disappointing. They genuinely believe they can bully and manipulate their way back into the comfortable setup Emily blew up. Newsflash, doesn't work that way. Now, I'm just focusing on cleaning up the mess emotionally. It's tough to realize the person you lived with and cared about is capable of this level of deceit and entitlement. But better to know now. Final update. It's been about 2 months since Emily came back from her little space-seeking trip with Jordan. Things have settled down, mostly because I refused to engage with the drama after that last update. Wanted to share the final resolution. The smear campaign continued for a bit. Lost a few superficial mutual friends who bought Emily's sob story. Honestly, good riddance. Anyone who takes her side without hearing the full story isn't someone I need in my life anyway. My real friends, the ones who knew me before Emily, were solid. They heard my side, saw the blatant disrespect, and supported me 100%. Emily apparently tried to escalate things legally, sort of. I got a vaguely threatening letter from some budget lawyer she must have scraped funds together for, demanding $10,000 for the value of her contributions to the car and emotional distress. It was full of typos and legal nonsense. My response? Had the lawyer I consulted send back a very formal, very concise letter. It included copies of the car title, loan agreement, and insurance policy, all solely in my name. A reminder that her contributions were for usage depreciation during the time she drove it, essentially rent, and she actually owed money if calculated per mile based on standard rates. A bluff, but made the point. A copy of her original "I need space, don't contact me" text. Screen grabs of the vacation photos with Jordan, timestamped public posts. A warning that any further unsubstantiated claims or harassment would result in me seeking legal fees and filing for a restraining order based on her previous attempts to cause issues with my landlord. Total silence after that. Her budget lawyer probably told her she had zero case and dropped her. Paying for a real legal battle was never an option for her, especially without my financial backing. Heard through the grapevine, a friend who still has minimal contact with one of Emily's less intense friends, what happened next. Emily crashed with Brooke for a while, which apparently caused massive friction because Emily expected Brooke to basically fund her life and didn't lift a finger. Shocking. Jordan? Predictably, he vanished once the vacation was over and reality set in. He wasn't interested in supporting her or dealing with her drama long term. He got his fun trip, end of story. She apparently tried guilt-tripping her parents, Karen, for money, probably with some success, but they couldn't bankroll her old lifestyle indefinitely. Last I heard, she had to move back to her hometown, living with her parents again. She's apparently complaining constantly about how unfair life is and how I ruined everything for her. Zero self-awareness, zero remorse, just pure uncut entitlement and victim mentality. The best part? The sweet, sweet sound of silence. No more demands, no more drama, no more Emily. My apartment feels like mine again. I actually repainted the living room last weekend, got rid of some of the furniture she picked out. Reclaiming the space feels good. The revenge wasn't loud or explosive, it was quiet and methodical. It was simply respecting her request for no contact and letting the logical consequences of her actions play out fully. She wanted space? She got an infinite amount of it. She prioritized a fling with her ex? She got to deal with the fallout alone. She took my support, apartment, car, for granted? She lost it the second she broke the trust it was built on. Selling the car she thought was hers, the car that was her status symbol, while she was literally sunning herself with another guy? Yeah, okay. That part felt truly satisfying, not gonna lie. That empty parking space when she got back? Chef's kiss. That's the consequence hitting hard and visibly. She didn't just lose a boyfriend, she lost the comfortable life she assumed was her right, funded by me. It cost me emotionally, yeah. Took time to process the betrayal, but I handled it logically, protected myself, and refused to be a doormat. She thought she could play games, keep me dangling. She miscalculated badly. She faced the direct, unavoidable consequences of her own choices, and her entitlement couldn't shield her. That's the most satisfying outcome I could ask for. Good riddance to Emily. Time to really move on. My ex texted, "Increase the child support or I take you to court." I replied, "Proceed as necessary." Then I provided my lawyer with proof she was hiding income and misusing funds. A short while later, her lawyer was calling my lawyer to negotiate. I, Ben, 38M, guess I shouldn't be surprised, but still, it was quite a message to receive. Divorced from Jennifer, 36F, for about 2 years now. We have one son, Noah, 8M. Split wasn't pretty, mostly because Jennifer has expectations. Always has. We agreed on child support, $1,200 a month, based on my salary and her reported part-time income from her online boutique thing. It covers more than Noah's fair share of expenses, plus extra. I pay on time every time. Also cover his health insurance and half of any major extras, school trips, braces eventually, etc. Never missed a payment. So Tuesday morning, I'm deep in debugging some code, phone buzzes. It's Jennifer. Jennifer, need to talk about CS. $1,200 isn't cutting it anymore. Costs are up. Need an increase to $2,000 a month starting next cycle. Me, Jennifer, we have a court-ordered agreement based on financials. Nothing significant has changed on my end. What specific costs have increased so drastically? Everything. Noah needs things. Clothes, activities, food is insane now. Don't nickel and dime me, it's for Noah. $2,000 or my lawyer will file for modification. Your choice. Me. Noah seemed fine and had plenty when I had him last weekend. If you want to formally request modification, you know the process. Talk to your lawyer. Fine. You asked for it. Expect the paperwork. Increase the payment now, or I take you to court. The entitlement just radiates off the screen. Your choice. Like she's doing me a favor by demanding nearly double. It's for Noah. The classic guilt trip, even though I suspect maybe 30% of that $1,200 actually goes towards his direct needs, based on some comments he's made and things I've seen. My blood pressure definitely spiked. But years of dealing with Jennifer taught me reacting emotionally gets you nowhere. She wants a fight. She thrives on drama. I took a deep breath. Typed back. Me, proceed as necessary. All communication regarding this should now go through my lawyer, Mr. Gregory. You have his contact info. Sent. Blocked her number temporarily to stop myself getting dragged into a text war. Emailed Mr. Gregory immediately. Jennifer threatening court for CS modification, demanding 2 CalOSers month. Instructed her to proceed formally via lawyers. Please be prepared for contact from her counsel. Suspect hidden income misuse of funds on her end. Recommend we start gathering evidence preemptively. Mr. Gregory replied within an hour. Understood. Let them make the first move filing-wise, but yes, let's quietly prepare. Send over anything you have regarding spending discrepancies or potential unreported income. So here we are, waiting for the official paperwork. But I'm not just waiting. I've suspected for months she's making way more than she claims from her little boutique, and that CS is funding her lifestyle, not Noah's needs. Time to see if I'm right. This isn't about disadvantaging her. It's about paying what's fair and ensuring Noah is actually benefiting. If she wants to play hardball, fine. Game on. Update? Okay, it's been a couple of weeks since the initial threat. As expected, Jennifer's lawyer, Ms. Nicole, filed the motion for child support modification. The paperwork arrived, full of inflated expenses for Noah and claiming Jennifer's income hasn't changed, making her sound like she's barely scraping by. The $2,000 demand is official. Mr. Gregory filed our initial response, denying the need for such a drastic increase and requesting full financial disclosure and discovery from Jennifer, including business bank statements for her boutique, personal accounts, credit cards, the works. Standard procedure, but we know this is where the truth usually hides. Meanwhile, I'd already started doing some digging, like Mr. Gregory suggested. Nothing illegal, just paying attention. And wow, social media goldmine. Jennifer's not exactly subtle. Her public Instagram? Full of pics from a recent weekend getaway, spa resort, cocktails, hashtag needed this. A new designer handbag casually sitting on a restaurant table in another shot, treat yourself. Pics of Noah are there, but fewer than the lifestyle posts. These aren't cheap trips or items for someone claiming poverty, screenshotted everything, timestamps and all. Noah's comments. Kids notice things. Last time I had him, he mentioned Mommy got a new giant TV for her bedroom, and Mommy's friend Andrew drives a really fast car. We went for brunch. Not definitive proof of anything on its own, but adds to the picture. Andrew is the new boyfriend she insisted wasn't serious or contributing financially. The boutique, her online boutique's social media page, is separate. Lots of posts showcasing new arrivals, sold-out items. Looks way more active than a barely making ends meet side hustle. Found a few comments from customers like, got my order, love it, fast shipping. Doesn't scream struggling artist. Forwarded all this to Mr. Gregory. He agreed it painted a picture inconsistent with her filing. Then came the supporters. Got a call from Jennifer's sister, Lauren, 38F, last Friday night. Lauren. Ben, what on earth are you doing to Jennifer? Me, Lauren, hello, I'm not doing anything. Jennifer is seeking a modification to child support through the courts. We are responding through lawyers as she requested. Don't give me that legal talk. She told me you refused to give her more money for Noah. He's your son. She's struggling, Ben. That $1,200 is nothing these days. You make good money, just pay it. Me, my finances are part of the court calculation, and so are hers. The court will determine what's fair based on actual income and actual need. Actual need? She can barely afford rent. You saw her little apartment. Note: she chose that apartment, could have afforded slightly larger with the current support if she budgeted. You're just being spiteful because she moved on. Andrew doesn't pay her bills. You know. Me. Lauren, I'm not discussing this with you. This is between Jennifer, me, and our lawyers, per her own rules. You're unbelievable. You'll regret this when the judge sees how ungenerous you are. She's gonna take you to the cleaners. You owe her. Okay, Lauren. Gotta go. Hung up. Blocked her number 2. The sheer entitlement is staggering. They genuinely believe I should fund Jennifer's life indefinitely, just because we were married and have a child. The idea that she needs to be honest about her finances doesn't even register. Mr. Gregory said this is common. The narrative gets spun to family and friends, painting the paying parent as the villain. Discovery is going to be interesting. Let's see what those bank statements actually say. Update 2. Alright, things escalated quickly. The discovery process has been illuminating and unpleasant. Jennifer dragged her feet providing documents. Miss Nicole sent over incomplete statements, claimed some were lost or irrelevant. Mr. Gregory had to file a motion to compel, basically asking the judge to force her hand. Judge granted it. Suddenly more documents appeared, though still likely not everything. But what we did get was damning. Bank statements. Her personal account showed the $1,200 CS coming in, and then money flying out for things like cosmetic store hauls, bar tabs, weekend trips, matching Instagram dates, and payments to high-end clothing stores. Very little that screamed child expenses beyond basic grocery runs. Crucially, there were regular, significant cash deposits, $500 to $1,000 chunks, multiple times a month, labeled vaguely like client payment or just deposit, far exceeding her claimed boutique income. Boutique account. The statements she did provide for her business showed more revenue than declared, but also strange transfers out to accounts we couldn't identify, and minimal claimed profit. Looked like textbook hiding income. Credit card statements. Similar story. Lots of personal spending, meals out, online shopping. Again, the cash flow didn't match her claimed income plus $1,200 CS. She was spending way more than she officially had. Mr. Gregory hired a forensic accountant, on my dime, yes, but necessary, to analyze everything. Given the urgency, we requested a rush preliminary analysis focusing on the obvious red flags. The report came back quickly, noting that while a full audit would take more time, the pattern was clear. Jennifer was likely underreporting her income by at least $2,500 to $3,000 per month, possibly more, primarily through those unexplained cash transactions, and potentially the boutique obfuscation. While definitively proving the exact source of every cash deposit wasn't yet complete, the pattern, regularity, and lack of any plausible explanation provided strong leverage. The analysis also showed less than $500 per month could be directly tied to verifiable child expenses, groceries, some clothes, his share of utilities. The rest was subsidizing her lifestyle. While this was happening, Jennifer tried some other tactics. Manipulative comments via Noah. Noah started saying things like, "Mommy says you don't give her enough money for my stuff. And Mommy's sad we can't go on a big vacation because you won't help." It was upsetting, but I gently corrected him. "Buddy, Mommy and I handle grown-up money stuff separately. I make sure you have everything you need, always." Documented these comments for Mr. Gregory as evidence of her attempting to involve Noah inappropriately. The school concern. Received an email from Noah's school principal. An anonymous parent had expressed concern about Noah's home situation, hinting at financial instability affecting him due to the divorce dispute. Thankfully, the principal knows me, knows Noah is fine at school, and basically saw it for what it likely was. We had a calm chat. I explained Jennifer was seeking more support, and things were tense, but Noah was insulated and provided for. She seemed satisfied and said unless concrete issues arise, she considers it parental conflict spillover. Clearly an attempt to exert pressure. So low. Mr. Gregory compiled everything, the forensic accountant's preliminary findings highlighting the pattern of deposits and spending, the bank credit card statements, the social media evidence, my logs of Noah's comments, and the school incident. He drafted a stark summary package. Yesterday morning, he emailed it directly to Miss Nicole. The subject line was blunt: financial disclosure discrepancies and evidence of undisclosed income misused funds, case name. The email basically said, here's compelling evidence suggesting your client has misrepresented her financial situation in her declaration, is significantly underreporting income, and is demonstrably using child support for personal expenses unrelated to the child. Our preliminary analysis suggests current support might even be too high based on her likely actual income. We demand you withdraw the modification request immediately. If not, we will file this evidence with the court seeking dismissal, sanctions against your client for filing in bad faith, and a recalculation of support based on imputed income, potentially resulting in a reduction of current support and her paying Mr. My Last Name's legal fees. No response from Miss Nicole all day yesterday. The silence was telling, waiting to see how they react to having their position challenged so directly. Part of me is anxious, part of me feels grimly satisfied. Actions have consequences. Final update. Well folks, it's over, and quicker than I expected. About 48 hours after Mr. Gregory sent that evidence package to Miss Nicole, my phone rang. It was Mr. Gregory. Ben, good news. Just got off the phone with Nicole. Using first name for lawyer seems okay in direct speech. Me? Oh. What did she have to say? My heart rate picked up. She sounded subdued. Said her client, Jennifer, has reconsidered her position and wants to withdraw the request for modification. Immediately. Seems our evidence package made quite an impression. She tried to float an informal let's just drop it all idea, but I held firm that any offer needs to be formal. Me. So she's folding? Just like that? Looks like it. Facing the evidence, potential sanctions for perjury and bad faith filing, and the real possibility of support being reduced plus paying your legal fees, seems reality finally hit. She's offering to withdraw with prejudice, meaning she can't refile later based on these same circumstances. The formal offer should be in my inbox shortly. He was right. Less than an hour later, Mr. Gregory confirmed receipt of the formal email offer from Miss Nicole. Mr. Gregory and I discussed the options. Option 1. Accept her withdrawal, keep support at $1,200, and be done. Option 2. Push it. File the evidence formally, potentially get support lowered based on her hidden income, and maybe get legal fees awarded. I thought about it hard. Pushing it meant more legal fees for me up front, more stress, potentially dragging Noah more into it if it went to a full hearing. Jennifer getting hit with lower support and paying my fees felt like justice, but the cost and conflict felt draining. The primary goal was stopping the unreasonable increase and the misuse of funds. Her being caught and forced to fold was, honestly, deeply satisfying on its own. The change in Miss Nicole's approach spoke volumes. My decision: accept the withdrawal with prejudice. But Mr. Gregory drafted a response stating that while we accept, we explicitly reserve the right to revisit the support amount downwards in the future should evidence of continued significant financial misrepresentation or misuse of funds surface. Basically, a clear warning shot. We know what you did. Don't try it again. Miss Nicole accepted immediately via email. Signed agreement filed with the court yesterday. Done. So, the outcome? Jennifer's demand for $2,000 a month? Gone. Child support stays at $1,200 a month. She knows that I know she's likely hiding income and misusing funds. That knowledge and the evidence we have documented is its own form of accountability. She had to pay her own lawyer's fees for this failed endeavor. Miss Nicole probably wasn't cheap. Her relationship with her sister Lauren is apparently strained, according to a mutual acquaintance. Lauren feels Jennifer wasn't entirely honest with her about the situation. Surprise, Jennifer hasn't contacted me directly. Can almost feel the simmering resentment from here. No apology, no acknowledgement, just silence. As expected from someone with that level of entitlement. Change doesn't come easily. Do I feel bad? Maybe a tiny bit that it came to this. But mostly, relief, vindication. I stood my ground, didn't let her bully me, and used the system she invoked to shut down her entitled grab. I protected my finances and ensured the support level remains fair based on the original agreement, even if the evidence suggests she should be getting less based on her real income. The justice wasn't some dramatic courtroom takedown. It was quiet, methodical proof shutting down her claims and forcing her own lawyer to scramble for damage control. Seeing her entitled overreach blow up in her face because of her own lack of honesty, that's the consequence she earned. Now I can just focus on Noah, making sure he's happy and provided for, without his mother's financial games hanging over everything. Cost me some stress and legal fees, but worth it for the peace of mind. Thanks for reading along, Reddit. Document everything, stay calm, and let their own actions be their undoing. Time to move forward.